Morning, greetings, everyone. It didn't occur to me until this morning that I have never done a live straight through YouTube that was scheduled, so I couldn't even figure out how to turn this thing on. So anyway, that was weird. Greetings. My name is Cassandra Floyd, also known as the Daughter of the Fates, founder of the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. I want to welcome you all this morning. Thank you all for joining me. Um, And I guess I'm going to just get right into it because I've been working on something for a few days that is really important to me. And it's something that I've actually been thinking about for a long time. And I don't know, just a few days ago, it just kind of struck me that don't you start going back to life. Um, that I wanted to get into. And so, really, I'm going to be talking to you, but I'm also going to be talking at you because there are. This is going to be also me working through some ideas that I have been. Greetings, Tajali, Golden Amethyst 999. I'm going to be also consciously working through some ideas that I am having with this topic. And 17. No, belly dance was supposed to be yesterday, but I didn't go. I had some stuff come up and I couldn't go at the last minute, which I was really sad about. No, but it's on Saturdays. You know, I was actually really down about the fact that I couldn't go yesterday. Okay. All right. So, yeah, I've been all over the place with this subject. So the subject, what did I call it? The magic of music or something like that. I don't even know. I couldn't come up with any kind of like cute cute title. But let me just do a little house cleaning, keeping. So honestly, I'm just waking up, to be honest. I had to work really late last night. My cats was doing the most. And I woke up at around 7 and then I was like, you know what, fuck that. And I went back to sleep. So I literally just got up like, I don't know, 15 minutes ago because my daughter called me to tell me about the coming hurricane. She lives in Tampa. And there's a hurricane threatening to hit landfall in Tampa, which is crazy because Tampa has always been that city in Florida that has seemed to be magically immune to hurricanes. There hasn't been a direct hurricane hit Tampa to hit landfall in Tampa since the 1920s, I think. So this weird hurricane that's looming in the Gulf right now is threatening to hit landfall in Tampa. So she just got off the phone with me talking to me about that. That's how I woke up. And yeah, so it's just a lot. But something else. There was something else I wanted to talk to you about. But I don't remember. I still ain't woke up good. Hold on. Yep. Okay, let's go. So I've been taking music classes. Y'all know that. I've been taking sitar classes, right? As a matter of fact, let me take out this notebook. So I've been taking sitar classes, and finally, the way my teacher began teaching was just straight up like start strumming. Just start strumming the sitar, right? Start doing your drills and stuff like that. So there wasn't a lot of discussion about theory, about the instrument, about the history or anything like that. So now we finally started talking about the instrument, the theory of the instrument, the history of the instrument, and also, you know, like the greats in the instrument, having requirements of listening to certain great sitarists and stuff like that, right? So I've been taking this class and I love the instrument. I've been obsessed with the instrument since I was a kid. And so this semester in the class, we are learning a little bit about the theory, about what the notes are in terms of like what they mean. They have meanings, the notes. And then this semester, he's already given us the song that we're going to perform at the end of the semester, which is called Saraswati Vandana. And this, I don't know if you can see it well. I'll show you another picture. But this picture here is a picture of Saraswati Vandana, right? And so I'm gonna talk to you, and that's also the picture that is the thumbnail for today's live. Is the only image that I have found of Saraswati as black. That was a mural that was painted somewhere of her in black on this black building, which I loved because even the theories, around her don't picture her as black, and that's another story. But what got me thinking about today's topic was I was practicing yesterday, and I'm in a performance class this semester too, where we have to perform in front of others every week to get our performance skills up. Like it's to help strengthen your performance presentation and like get how to get over methods of how to get over stage fright. And so every week in this performance class, somebody else has to perform in front of the whole class, no matter where they are in their music, whatever their music is. And then after they perform their piece, they have to be critiqued by the whole class. Good critique, like he says, all good things, say all good things. And then the professor will give like the actual critique about what they can do better, how they can project more, blah, 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 right? And so anyway, I was practicing because I have to perform on Monday. And I started thinking about what we've learned in theory about this Indian music and about this instrument and about the notes. So there's a note that's called shacha, right? Shacha is like the main note. It's like the power note. It's like the note that all the other notes kind of emanate from, if you will. The shacha, which is sa, which the short version of this note, the note shacha is literally called, well, it's called the mother note. And what it means as the mother note, shacha, literally means that which gives birth to six. Shacha, that which gives birth to six. The shat is six, and the ja is gives birth. That which gives birth to six, which is 7 notes in the scale, and the shat ja is the one that gives birth to the other 6. I was like, wow. And then sa, which is the note that we sing or we play, means womb. Sa means womb. And then the long version of the name shat ja means mother note, that which gives birth to 6. All the 6 other notes, right? Then the ga, which is Gandharva, means the celestial musicians. That's the name of the note. The ga, Gandharva, means the celestial musicians. The ma, which is the middle note, which is madhyam, means middle, and then pacham means 5 or 5th, right? But that mother note, man, it's called the mother note. That's where we always start. The mother note, that which gives birth to 6. I was like, that is really interesting, right? Love and peace, everyone. I do this mantra in meditation. It's so lovely. What mantra? What you're talking about? The Saraswati Vandana? Because there's like a million different ones. That's the other thing about Indian music. When he told us the name of the raga, which is Saraswati Vandana, I thought I would be able to just get on YouTube and YouTube Saraswati Vandana, and the song that we're playing would come up. But the way the rag works is the rag is like a foundation. It's just a foundation, right? And then you can build on the foundation. So like last semester, we played Rag Yaman, which is a rag for the afternoon. It's called Rag Yaman. However, there are a million different ways to interpret Rag Yaman. Rag Yaman is a foundational rag, right? So you have different rags: a rag for the morning, a rag for the afternoon, a rag for the evening, a rag for the late night, a rag for sunset, a rag for sunrise, right? These are foundational rags, but you can literally make a million songs off a single rag. It's still blowing my mind. I still don't understand it. So when I went to go YouTube this, Saraswati Vandana, I'm thinking it's one song. Nope, there were like 25,000 different versions of Saraswati Vandana when I went to go look at it. So I decided I'm not going to play it, but I am going to sing it. This is the song part of it anyway. So maybe I have to play it. Pamagare sasare gare ga. Pamagare sasare gare ga. Gare ga ga. Pamare sa pamare shit. Pamare gare shit. I'm gonna have to play it. Let me pull out the instrument because I'm gonna play it. There's a reason I'm gonna play it. It's not necessarily to entertain, but it's to talk to you about this music. I hope y'all can rock with me this morning because I really got something for you. But I was going to start with this. I wasn't planning on taking the instrument out, but whatever. But I'm going to start with talking to you because this is what got me back on it. Walking with this instrument and this music was what got me back on this whole thing, and why I titled the let's see if I can even do this. This live today about music and about music as magic. Okay. So let's see. Okay. Well, Let's see. Mama got it. Sa sa re. Mama got it. Sa sa re ga. Ga ga. Mama. Mama got it. Shoot, this thing is too big. Mama got it. Sa sa re ga ga. Mama got it. Sa sa re. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got Mama, we got it, son. Mama. Oh, this thing is too big. Hold on. Mama. Mama, we got it, son. Got it, got. Mama, we got it, son. Sa re da ba ba. Mama re ga re sa re da ba ba. Mama re ga re sa. Mama ga re sa. Mama ga re sa re ga re ga. Mama got it, sa re ga re ga. Ga. Mama re ga re sa. Ga re ga. Mama re ga re sa. Sa re da ba ba. Mama re ga re sa. Sa re da ba ba. Mama re ga re sa. Okay, that's it. That's what I've learned so far from that song. Now, I only got that song last week. Okay, I got that song last Monday. That's what I've gotten so far. That's what I've learned so far. The reason I took it out. Okay, so the reason I took it out, and the reason I thought it was important to sing it to you today. We have to sing and play. Is I have been having an experience learning this instrument. I've been having an experience anyway. It's a lot. But I wanted to start out by talking to you about the notes. The mother note, the note that gives birth to the other six, the womb that gives birth to the other six, right? I was like, damn, that's deep. Then I started thinking about Chinese medicine, which is what I do, right? And in Chinese medicine, the herbs, the Chinese are taught the herbs as a song. At the traditional way to learn Chinese herbs, because there's 365 herbs in the Materia Medica. There's 200 and something odd formulas from the herbs. And you have to know the indications, what they're used for, the contraindications, the active constituents. And that's a lot of information to know. And so they use what we use typically to memorize shit. What do we use to memorize shit? Mnemonics, right? And so a mnemonic is an instrument, a tool to help you remember something, right? And I hadn't thought about Chinese herb songs since I was in medical school 10 years ago. And let me just get into it. So for those of you who are tuning in late, So I will start, since I was talking to you about Saraswati, and this is the reason that I started thinking about music as spells. So let me talk to you a little bit about Saraswati. So me and you gonna fight. You've been at it all morning. So Saraswati is the goddess of knowledge, music, wisdom, speech, the arts, learning, poetry, purification, and language. The arts, according to Vedic, let me see. According to where did I write that? According to Vedic understanding, is the sciences and mathematics are included in the arts. The idea of the arts, the sciences and mathematics are included. Just FYI, this was the tea that I was telling y'all I was going to make. It was pine. It was the pine that I went and picked the other day. So it was pine tea, hibiscus, and cinnamon. Oh, something else I'll tell you before I get going good is I told y'all I was starting my detox last week, which I did. And today is Sunday. So a week, as of a week, which I started, well, today, we'll just say today, because I technically started to Sunday a week ago. So as of today, I've lost 6 pounds. I haven't stopped eating. I'm not fasting or anything like that. What did I say? I was going to stop eating out. So I've only been cooking at home. I was going to stop drinking everything but wine, but I've only had 1 glass of wine this week. And I haven't really been exercising either. I mean, I take the sitar out to go practice. I don't practice at home. I go out to practice. But in terms of like actually going out and exercising, I haven't done that. I haven't gone dancing this week. So all I've done this week is not eat out, not drink at all, except the glass of wine that I had the night before last. And then I'm drinking this tea, and I'm eating way more vegetables now that I'm cooking at home. And I've lost 6 pounds this week. So just FYI. And I'm gonna start posting pictures about my little detox too. So anyway, so Saraswati, these are her things. It's her bag, right? The arts. It also is said of Saraswati that she is a part of what's called the Tridevi, which is she, Saraswati, Lakshmi, and Parvati. So when she is pictured, she is always pictured with 4 arms, typically sitting in lotus position, either on top of a lotus flower, typically on top of a lotus flower, and accompanied by either a peacock, riding on a goose, or a swan, right? So in the picture with her will be one of those 3 animals. And in her 4 arms, she is holding a book, because she is considered like the creator of language. She isn't just, quote, the goddess of language. She is the creator of language, the creator of writing. She is actually called the mother of the Vedas. So the Vedas are the sacred script of Hinduism, and she is called the mother of the Vedas. And Vedas means the knowledge technically, but it means knowledge of the eternal path. And it is said that she is the inventor of Sanskrit. She is the inventor of Sanskrit and the mother of the Vedas. And she's holding a rosary in one hand, or malas, and a water pot for purification. And the purification is based on this understanding of being able to separate the clean from the unclean, or the pure from the impure, right? And it's about the instinctual knowledge between right and wrong, right? That's what the water pot represents. And then the musical instrument she's always pictured holding, I'll show you the picture again that I have. It was a sticker that I bought, but it looks like the sitar. It's called the veena. And the Indians say it's the oldest instrument in Hinduism is the veena. And then her name means elegant, flowing, watery. And her name, or Saraswati, is named after the river called Saraswati. Saraswati, which was a sacred river, that flowed down from the Himalayas, and it has since dried up. But Saraswati was this goddess that emanated from the worship of this river, the Saraswati, which is one of the major sacred waterways flowing out of the Himalayas, along with the Ganges. And it's interesting when I read this, because y'all know my wormholes be taking me all over the place. When I read this about Saraswati and how she is actually named after a river, and after the river dried up, the worship of the deity became centered around what it is she's known for: knowledge, music, arts, the speech, wisdom, learning, poetry, purification, da 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 da. And her name literally means she who possesses speech. She who possesses speech. But I thought about that because there are several deities in African tradition that are named after rivers, or that are their stories are about these great rivers in Africa that had, and a lot of their patakis are based on how the rivers flowed. Like the river that Oya is named after, I don't remember the name of the river, but the river that Oya is named after, apparently the reason that Oya is called the mother of nine, and the Apataki is about her 9 children and all of this stuff. But the reason her name is the mother of 9 is because this great river has 9 tributaries. Oshun is named after a river. So I was like, damn, this is really interesting when I read this about Saraswati and about how she is named after this sacred river that people used to hold festivals at every year, and they would bathe in the river to be purified, whatever, and how this is a common theme of goddesses, because the personification of a river is about its life. You know, the water is the life source of the community. The water is, what binds the community, whatever. So I was like, okay, this is an ongoing thing. Okay, so that is about Saraswati. I'll start with the goddesses, because I was like, ooh, okay, so Saraswati is the goddess of music. So let's see what other gods and goddesses are involved in music. So I just Googled. There's a bunch of them. I didn't name them all, but the ones that stood out, because there's another reoccurring theme. The ones that stood out are the ones that I will talk about today. And then I'm going to show you guys a very brief video that kind of blew my mind, because this is some shit I've been meditating on. I have them saved up here. So, I'm not on StreamYard, so I got to figure out how to share screen on here. Okay. So that's how I got on the topic, was about Saraswati. But the whole thing was about music and art as magic, right? And I've talked about this, so this isn't nothing new with y'all. I've been talking about, artists are gonna change the world. Artists are the only ones capable of helping people to be able to see in their mind's eye that there is another way, that we don't have to subscribe to the same old that's the word I'm looking for. I can't think of it, but the same old thing The same old thing we've been doing over and over and over again. It is only artists, musicians, dancers, painters, graphic designers, fucking video game programmers. Like I had this idea about, can you change the world through video games? Like, can video game programmers create a video game that helps you become an architect of an actual new world that is all the things, like all the things that we talk about, like the end of racism, the end of oppression, the end of exploitation, the end of class divisions. Everybody has what they need and what they desire. There's no opulence because everybody is cared for, whatever, right? Can this be a video game where you're actually an architect in the video game weaving the future together or some shit? I don't know. But, and how can you make it exciting without it being explosions and rape and shooting and violence and shit? You feel me? Anyway, so I've been talking about this for a long time, but there's one kid who really, one of the videos I'm going to show you that was so, and he doesn't know, this kid can't know how deep the video is that he did because he was so nonchalant about it. It's called The Curious Musician. And then even his experiment, but still based on his worldview. But his video was like, whoa, right? So I'm gonna show it to you because it's only like 5 minutes long. But anyway, let's talk about these gods and goddesses first, and then I think after there I'll segue into this kid's video because that is going to be more specifically what I'm going to talk to you about. Also about these. Hold on. Because I'm also gonna be talking about some of the controversies about music. Okay, so anyway, let's go. So no, let's start with music. So y'all know me, I'm always gonna Google the etymology. So music, the etymology is pretty much the same everywhere. Music is describing the organizing mathematically of notes to be sang together, all right, to create rhythmic sound that's lovely or whatever. Well, the origin of the root of music is muse, right? And so muse, okay, so let's see. Muse is basically an inspiring goddess, right? They say actually that the root of muse is men, right? Men. We talked about this, I think, to ad nauseam. I might not bring it up again. Men, Minos, Minerva, men. Yeah, not, huh? Yeah. Anyway, the root. Let me see if I can find this because where I looked said the root is men, but I think, yeah, that Barbara Walker had something different to say about the root of men. Hold on. Let's see. Yeah. Now here it says the root is men, men, which means to think. But according to the Women's Encyclopedia of Myths and Secrets and some other places that I've seen, men, 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 the prefix / suffix men means moon. Means moon. Yeah, everywhere in every culture it means moon. As a matter of fact, let's do that. So that adds another dynamic that I didn't even think about yesterday when I wrote that down. Let's see. Yeah. In Hebrew, min means moon. Let's see. The root word for both moon and mind was the Indo-European manus, mana, or min. The root word for both moon and mind. That's probably why they said to think. The root word for both moon and mind was the Indo-European manus, mana, or min, representing the great mother's wise blood in women governed by the moon. Its derivative, mania, is used to mean ecstatic revelation, just as lunacy used to mean possession by the spirit of Luna, the moon. To be moon-touched or moonstruck meant to be chosen by the goddess. A moon calf was one carried away by her love. Okay, so that's men. I'm gonna have to go back and read that. That might be the next one as we do moon. Okay, so but anyway, men, men, was seen to be the root of music. So I should write that down. Okay, right? Inspiring goddess. That's what a muse is an inspiring goddess. And so the literal definition. Oh, that's really good, Claudia Ankara. I like that. I like that. I like those ideas. The literal definition for muse is to reflect, to ponder, meditate, or to be absorbed in thought, to dream, the source of knowing, understanding, and practicing. The muse is the source of knowing, understanding, and practicing. I thought this was interesting. Amuse, like to be amused, amuse means, and I think Mary Daly talked about this in one of these books, I think Pure Lust. Amuse means to divert attention, to beguile, or to delude. Amuser, like a comedian, like a jokester. Amuser is to fool, to tease, to hoax, or to entrap, to make fun of, literally to cause a distraction, to deceive or cheat by first occupying one's attention. You heard me. Does this not sound like modern music? To fool, tease, hoax, or entrap, to make fun of, literally to cause a distraction, to deceive or cheat by first occupying one's attention. Amuse, right? And then bemuse literally means without muses, you have no inspiring goddess. Without muses. And the literal definition of be muse without muses is uneducated. You have no inspiration. You have no inspiring goddess. Right? Anyway, let's see. So that was that. That was what I started with, obviously, was the definition of the muses. So then I went to the muses. So there were 9 muses. I'm going to go deep into the muses one day because their stories, as I was reading them, I'd read them before, I'd glanced over them before, but this was really interesting. And I was like, this requires probably its own deep dive, its own live or something. But let's see here. Move some stuff out the way. Yeah, this shit got real deep. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I'm going to read a little bit to you about the muses before I talk to you about them in depth. Well, in relative depth. The muses, 9 female entities. Oh my gosh. Does anybody remember the movie? This is old. So this might be like too old for some of y'all. Anybody remember the movie with Olivia Newton-John called Xanadu? Anybody? Anybody remember the movie with Olivia, starring Olivia Newton-John called Xanadu? Anybody remember that? It was a musical. It was really, really popular when I was a kid. Yes, I knew you would, Tajali. Anyway, I don't know if you remember, but Olivia Newton-John's character was she was a muse. She was a muse of song and dance, and she had basically gone renegade. She had gone rogue because she was supposed to inspire but not fall in love with. And she fell in love with this dude and was wanting to leave her sisters and her father, who is Zeus, to go pursue a life with this dude. You feel me? Absolutely, yes, Gen X in the house. Let me tell you, side note, Tajali, a friend of mine works for what is it, American Musical Channel? I think that's what it's called. AMC. Yeah, he works for he makes documentaries for um American Music Channel. I mean American Movie Channel. And they do a big film festival here every year. He lives in Atlanta, but they do a big film festival here every year. So one year he came, was it last year? I think it was last year he came and he was like, yo, I'm in town. Let's go have drinks. I was like, yeah, we can have drinks, but I want to go to the film festival, right? So he gets me an all access pass to the film festival. And one of the movies I went to go see, we saw, what was the movie with, oh my God, I saw so many good movies. Oh my God, what's this woman's name? Oh, I won't go off on that. But anyway, one of the movies I was like, it was playing so late, but you get to see all of these old movies that you probably only saw on TV on the big screen. I got to see Xanadu last year on the big screen. I got to see Xanadu last year on the big screen, which was freaking awesome. It was freaking epic because every time I saw it, I was like 10. I don't even think I was 10. You know what? I don't even think I was 10. I think I was I was little, maybe 7 or 8 when Xanadu came out, but I only ever saw it on TV. So it was really, really dope seeing it on the big screen. But anyway, long story short, that movie starring Olivia Newton-John is about her as a muse going through different periods of time, inspiring great artists or musicians. So the dude that she ends up falling in love with, even though it's a musical and there's lots of song and dance or whatever, the guy that she falls in love with is actually a painter, right? So anyway, the 9 female entities who were originally said to have been the daughters of Mother Earth and air before Zeus's ascendancy led to his being described as the father of these lesser deities. It is said that Zeus conceived the muses on Nemosyne. Nemosyne. I'm struggling to pronounce her name. Nemosyne. Conceived on Mnemosyne during the orgiastic frenzy that followed his violation of his mother Rhea. The muses. So what happened? So the story is that Zeus, because they always say Zeus had sex with, but 99.9% of the people that quote Zeus had sex with, he raped. You feel me? He had sex with without consent, unconsensually. You feel me? He had turned himself into a motherfucking bird or a storm or some golden rains or whatever the fuck he was feeling like on any given day, and then just force himself on women to create these lesser half god, half human babies or whatever. And so with Mnemosyne, they say that the reason that she had 9 children is because for 9 consecutive nights, Zeus came and imposed himself on her. He came and had sex with her for 9 consecutive nights, and each night she conceived a new child. And so when they were all born at the same time, and this is who the Muses are. Now, I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about Mnemosyne, because she the one. Zeus is who the fuck Zeus is. But when you start talking about music, its function, the impact that it has on the world, we never talk about how the Muses came to be and why their parentage is so important, and not Zeus. Mnemosyne is where their genius came from. So Mnemosyne, let's see. So the Muses were a wild lot until they were reformed by Apollo. Now, Apollo is one of the gods of music on this list. Until they were reformed by Apollo, who tamed them and taught them formal and decorous dances through which they might express themselves. The Muses taught the Sphinx her riddle and also defeated the Sirens in the musical contest, claiming the Sirens' wing feathers as their prize. The Muses were often described as the queens of song, and no Olympian banquet was complete without them. Initially, without individual personalities, the Muses were eventually assigned names and specific traits. Clio was the muse of history. Yes. Clio was the muse of history, Urania of astronomy, Melopone maybe, of tragedy, Thalia of comedy, Terpsichore of dance, Calliope of epic poetry, Erato of erotic poems, and something else, of erotic poem and lyric art. Let's see. Calliope of epic poetry, Erato of love poetry, Polymenia of songs to the gods or hymns, and Euterpe of lyric music. As patrons of the fine arts, the Muses were often perceived as promoters of the more civilized aspects of mortal existence. For these reasons, the Muses were frequently invoked in several millennia of artistic expression and remain reference points for painters and poets alike. Now, Mnemosyne. Let's talk about Mnemosyne. I don't know if they have anything in here about her, but I wrote some things down from the internet. She's not in here, I don't think. Yeah, no. Okay, so Mnemosyne. The reason I mentioned in the beginning about the role that music played in Chinese medicine, that the herbs are learned in song. This is a mnemonic. The word mnemonic comes from the goddess Mnemosyne, whose name literally means the goddess of memory and memorization. And so the story about Mnemosyne is that she controlled. So there was a river. I forget the name of it. Did I keep it up? No, I didn't. There is a river in Hades, right? There are 2 rivers in Hades. One starts with an L, Linos. One is a river of forgetfulness. When you die and you transition, you drink from the river of forgetfulness so that you can forget your past lives before reincarnation, right? And the river of that Manasane controls is the river of forgetfulness, right? I mean the river of memory. She controls memory, and yeah, she controls memory. There is an interesting segue. Let's see. So Manasane, Lethe, thank you. Shit, where is it? I take the worst notes these days. What the hell? Okay, I know what I did. Okay, so anyway, this is where mnemonic comes from. It's from her name. She's the goddess of memory. I thought I had left something open about her. Let's see. Let's see if I can do this. Let's see. Share screen. Because yes. Okay, let's see. All right. So can you, okay, y'all should be able to see that. Okay. I'm not gonna be able to do it through the screen, so I'm gonna have to stop. Okay. Okay. So this is thoughtcode.com, the Greek muses. So there's something because once I started going into this, there's also a relationship between Manasane, Orpheus, who we've been talking about a lot because I've been talking about that show Chaos. Okay, so what's her name? Calliope, right? She is the muse of epic poetry, music, song, dance, and eloquence. Her attribute is a wax tablet or a scroll, but she's also pictured holding see a little, what's that thing called? I forget. But anyway, Calliope was the oldest of the 9 muses. This was the connection. Calliope is the oldest of the 9 muses. Where's my pen? And but she is also considered the mother of Orpheus. Orpheus is extremely important in Greek mythology, and Calliope is his mother, right? And Calliope was a bard. That was something else I was going to talk to y'all about. Let's see, where is that at? Yep. Okay. So Calliope, there you go. That's her. Cleo is the muse of history, and she's pictured with scrolls or chests of books. And I love this. Cleo's name comes from the Greek verb Cleo, which means to make famous. To make famous, Cleo. And yeah, that is important too, to make famous. Okay. Euterpe is the muse of lyric song, and she's always pictured playing a double flute. And her name means giver of many delights or rejoicing well. Melpomene or Melopone is the muse of tragedy. Her attributes are the tragic mask and the ivory wreath. Originally the muse of chorus, She later became the music of tragedy. She often carries both the tragic mask and the sword, and wears a Conthinus boots, which are worn by tragic actors. Her name means celebrate with song and dance. Terpsichore is the muse of dance, and her name means to delight in dancing. Despite her name, however, she is only shown sitting down and playing a stringed instrument called a lyre. That's what it is, a lyre, the symbol also associated with Apollo. So is the muse of erotic poetry, and she plays a smaller lyre. In addition to being the muse of erotic and love poetry, Erato was also the patron of mime. Her name literally means lovely or desirable. Polymena is the mother of sacred song. She's depicted veiled and pensive. Polymena wears a long cloak and veil, often rests on her arm on a pillar. Legends describe her as the mother of Triptolemus by Chiramahus, who was the son of Eris. Triptolemus was a priest of Demeter, goddess of the harvest, and is sometimes described as the inventor of farming. Urania, as the mother of astronomy, pictured holding a celestial globe and compass. And she is mentioned as the mother of Linus, who was a famous musician. Thalia is the muse of comedy and bucolic poetry. She wears the cosmic mask, the ivy wreath, and the shepherd's staff. She often carries a mask of comedy along with a bugle or a trumpet, which would have been used in Greek comedies. She is usually portrayed seated, sometimes in humorous erotic poses, and her name means joyous or flourishing. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Okay. So that's one of the things I wanted to share. I don't know if I'm gonna go into that long because I could keep going. But let's just run through some of the. I really wanted to talk about the muses though, but it might have to be for another day because there's a lot more that I want to share with you. But I also wanted to talk about the connection between the muses and Orpheus, because Orpheus is everywhere. Orpheus is everywhere in Greek mythology. The Orphic mosaics and the Orphic mysteries and the Orphic hymns and the Orphic oracles, and this comes from it's like Orphic worship. Let me see if I have it open here. Okay, so yeah, but there was a whole system of kind of like priestly mysteries that came out of. And Orpheus in mythology was a mortal, was a human, but his mother being one of the muses, right? His mother being Calliope, the mother of epic poetry. He was divinely inspired with the gift of music, and it says that he was a bard. I'm going to talk to you about bards. He was a bard, a musician, and a prophet. He was a bard, a musician, and a prophet. This is important. Orpheus was a bard, a musician, and a prophet. Okay. It says that his ability to charm all living things and even stones with his music, or he had the ability to charm all living things, even stones, with his music, right? He was a so a bard, right? Did I open that up? God's music, syncopation, Orpheus, bard. There it is. Okay, so let me open this and talk about bards. This was another aspect of how I got on this wormhole, was because I'm seeing all of these characters and all of these that I'm watching. So I tell you guys often about like about the Witcher series, the Wheel of Time series, right? What's another one I was talking to you about? There was a connection in this story that I'm not going to get to yet, but even in modern films that we don't draw a connection. So the bard in Celtic cultures is an oral repository and professional storyteller, verse maker, music composer, oral historian, and genealogist, typically employed by a patron such as a monarch or a chieftain, to commemorate one or more of the patron's ancestors and to praise the patron's own activities. With the decline of the bardic tradition in the modern period, the term was loosened to mean a generic minstrel or author, especially a famous one. For example, William Shakespeare and Rabindranath Tagore are respectively known as the Bard of Avon, often simply the Bard of Bengal, and the Bard of Bengal in 16th century Scotland. It turned into a derogatory term for an itinerant musician. Nonetheless, it was later romanticized by Sir Walter Scott. The word comes from Celtic languages. It means poet or singer or minstrel or jester. All right. So that's all I want to say about the bard. While we're on it, there's the bard, the gleeman. So the gleeman is mentioned a lot in the series The Wheel of Time. The bard is mentioned a lot in The Witcher. As a matter of fact, the guy who is the chief bard in The Witcher is this funny guy who sees the importance of the Witcher's story and is telling the Witcher. It took him a long time to convince the Witcher to allow him to travel along with him. So he plays the lute and he travels along with the Witcher, writing songs about the Witcher's victories and conquests and adventures, so that he is not forgotten in time. The only way to remember him is to sing songs about him. So the bard goes to and fro with the Witcher on the spot. He'll see him kill a monster and then on the spot create a song about how they got to where they were and how he was victorious over the monster. This becomes the way that people around the continent can know who and remember who the Witcher is. And it's so funny because when we're learning like in elementary school about quote oral traditions and the way that Western history and Western science has always attempted to demote the significance of quote oral history. Oh, well, it's just an oral tradition. Oh, it's just an oral tradition, and it wasn't really valid until writing came along. The traditions weren't really valid until writing came along, right? There's this way that they oversimplify the oral tradition. The oral tradition wasn't just quote storytelling. It was like in African culture, the bard, what we call the bard here would be the griot. And the griot didn't just quote tell stories. Oh, well, this time this happened and then what had happened was and this and that and such and such. The griot told stories ancestral stories, social stories, historical stories, political stories through what's the word? There's a specific word I'm looking for, but the griot used like acting, used poetry, used entertainment to tell actual stories, to tell actual occurrences. This is how history was transferred and how the story could could maintain a level of similarity is because the song, the dance, the performance of the history was like a what? A mnemonic tool. It was like a mnemonic tool. It helped the people to memorize the song, the dance, the performance of the artistry of the storytelling, right? Help the people to quote, memorize through mnemonics the story. That's why it was able to maintain a level of continuity, right? And so the bard, the bard in the Wheel of Time, there were several bards in the Wheel of Time. Not in the Wheel of Time. The Gleeman I've told y'all this before, the Gleeman that they meet, the two of the characters meet this Gleeman at this place while they're traveling to find their friends. And the Gleeman is just what he sounds like. Glee, like joyous, happy. He's a songteller. He's a singer. He's a storyteller through song. And so they meet this guy, but he's also kind of like a stick-up guy. You feel me? Like he uses the song and dance to like swindle people out of money, but he's still telling a story. And when he's talking to the kids, he says, we call ourselves Gleemen because it's less threatening than what we actually are. And the kids ask him, well, what are you actually? He said, just know this, there is nothing more dangerous than a man who knows the past. That's what their job was. The Gleeman, the bard, was to be the, what is the word I want to use? To be the custodians of history. They are the custodians of history. If you're living back in this period, who are the historians? Other than those few at those periods of time in ancient history that knew how to write, who are the custodians of history for the working people, for the regular people, for, those who aren't of the noble class or, the clerical class? It is the singer. It is the bard. It is the gleeman. These are the custodians of history. And so he says, this is what makes us a problem. This is what makes us a problem. This is why they be out here trying to ban music. This is why they out here be trying to ban poetry and ban writing. He says, because we are the custodians of history. There's nothing more dangerous than a man who knows the past. And these are the stories that they tell, right? And it's interesting because Cleo, who is a muse, is the muse of history, but her name means to make famous, to make one famous, right? And so this becomes, to me, in the grand scheme of this thing that I'm working on. I know this is all disenchanted. I told y'all I'm working out some shit, you feel me, in this process. But to me, her name as the muse of history means to make one famous, and to think about the role of the singer-songwriter in the age where all there was the oral tradition. This was the role of the singer-songwriter. This was the role of the performer. This was the role of the actor, was to protect history, to preserve history, and tell history in a way that the regular person, the regular everyday person who didn't know how to read, who didn't know how to write, could still benefit from history, could still be connected to history. It wasn't, quote, for entertainment. It was entertaining in the process. It was entertaining while still being able to be functional. Remember the piece that I read, I don't know, maybe a year ago now, by what's his name? By God. By and I fuck what's going on with my brain? The founder of Kwanzaa. Shit. Anyway, the piece was my God, was anyway, the piece was about art. The function of art, the purpose of art is to be functional. That art for art's sake is a luxury of the wealthy, a luxury of the class that does not have any connection with the lower classes. Art for art's sake. It's like black people ain't got no, black people don't have the luxury of producing art for art's sake, just painting the motherfucking apple and calling it art. That's not, that's never what art has been for indigenous people. Art has always been functional. It has served to be both entertaining and to be functional within the group, right? And so I'm sitting here thinking about this and about how the quote musician and Milana Karanga, damn, thank you so much. I'm sitting here thinking about how even in movies, when we see like old European movies of the bard just going, they always picture him as, they always play his character as like a drunken guy, a weirdo who doesn't want to work for a living. And so he just goes from bar to bar, singing funny songs, do-de-do. And ever since I was a kid, that's always how the bard or the gleeman has been portrayed, is like a silly, insignificant character within the grand scheme of society at that time. But that's not who he was. The bard was the only way that people could get news. Because these people, think about it. The first printing press wasn't available until what, the 1600s in Europe, 1600s, I think. And so this was how people got news, was the bard, was the gleeman. This was how they knew the bard. What did they say? He wasn't just a singer and a songwriter and a performer. He was the genealogist. He was hired by noblemen to keep entertaining account of the family line. He wasn't writing that shit. He was singing it. And he was memorizing it all, cataloging it through mnemonics so that he would never forget a song. He was a genealogist. And he'd sing a song. So-and-so begot so-and-so, and so-and-so begot so-and-so, and da-da-da-da-da. They were hired by nobility to be the historians for nobility, to be the genealogists for nobility, to transfer information or transport information from one country to another. France is doing such and such and this and that. Spain is doing such and such and this and that. They were the news reporters of the day. They were the weather reporters of the day. Right? They were the chief commentators on how this war is breaking out. Well, the lowdown is that this princess got married off to this king in order to form an alliance between these two nations who are at odds. Even though they're at odds with each other, they both unite on their aggression against this country right here. So they form this. But he sings it in a song. He is the commentator to help people, the lay people, understand why this war is about to go down or why these unions are made. The bard did that. I'm sitting here reading this shit. I'm like, yo. And every movie you've ever watched, King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, and the bard is always just a funny man who is reduced to insignificant in these movies. But they never tell you. We never think to ask. But they never tell you how people who were regular serfs or workers or poor people or peasants knew anything about the world when they didn't read and write. When for the majority of European history, they were forbidden from reading and writing. Only the nobility, and only those within the papacy, only those who were, uh, up in the church, monks and what you call them dudes? Not monks. The guys with the little bald head, friars and shit like that, right? They were really reporters through through inspirational stories and song, right? And so it's these things that are reduced to quote background noise that stand out. Like, how did the people know anything? How did lay people know anything? How did the peasants, the serfs, anybody know anything about what was happening in their day-to-day life in relationship to these nobles and these church people who were making deals and brokering deals that would impact their lives? Yes, all we do is work and toil the soil and all that shit. But the moves that these motherfuckers are making up here are going to impact our lives no matter what. And the only way that they had that information was through the bard, was through the gleeman. Yes, and that was the function. So Icy Captain says hip hop was our bard in the 90s. The problem is that the bard in those days were typically independent. They could say whatever the fuck they wanted to say, right? They could do whatever they wanted to do so they could tell the truth, right? They could tell the truth. They could tell it how it is. They could take an opinion, even if it was an unpopular opinion, because this is just the funny man. This is just guy singing songs and this and that and this and that, right? The problem with hip hop is that there is a recognition throughout history. I'm sitting here reading all of this shit, trying to get prepared for this live, but there is not just now. There is, and I'm going to talk about hip hop in this live, by the way, Icy Captain. So your comment might be a segue, but there is a recognition throughout history, the inherent danger of the entertainer to quote tell too much truth, or to give away too many secrets, or to reveal too much to the masses, or worse yet, to actually inspire the masses, to actually inspire them to rebellion, to inspire them to free themselves, right? And so that's why the bard in The Witcher said, "There's nothing more dangerous than a man who knows the past," right? So the bard being back to the muses, the bard being inspired by the muses of history and the muses of song, right? Orpheus was a bard, and they said that Orpheus had. Let me open up this thing about Orpheus, y'all, because this shit got so deep. It just went so over the place. The connections were fucking me up. Okay? The connections was fucking me up. Hold on, let me open this shit about Orpheus. I wasn't going to go this deep, but these stories about Orpheus, y'all, I'm trying to tell y'all ain't ready. So let's talk about Orpheus a little bit, because I've still been telling y'all that y'all need to go and my fucking internet is dragging. So I don't know if y'all are hearing me or if it's just the video that's dragging. But I've been telling you about making sure you start to watch this show, Chaos, that just came out last month, I think, that's starring Jeff Gold, because Orpheus and Dionysus play a very key and important role in this story. Okay, so when this came up, Orpheus came up in my study just about music as spells. Let me X out of this. Baby, the connections. Also, there's another idea. Let me just say this really quick. Let me stop sharing. There's another idea that I'm working on. This one I am going to have to really take my time on because of how sensitive it is. But it kept coming up in my study of music, which is interesting. The concept of madness. The concept of madness, insanity, lunacy, craziness, mental illness kept coming up in my study of music as a spell. It kept coming up. It kept coming up. Madness, insanity, craziness, lunacy. It kept coming up. It kept coming up. And this is something that this idea of insanity, madness, crazy, lunacy is something that I've already been. So I've been writing a book. I've been writing the book for forever. Okay. And the book is about the word crazy. It's about the history of crazy. I'm not going to tell you the title because I don't want nobody to jack my shit. But I've been working on this book. I have forever. Okay. And the book has one chapter written right now. But this is an idea that has been important to me for a very long time. This idea, especially where women are concerned, about madness, craziness, lunacy, insanity, that kind of shit, right? So that was already in the back of my head as a topic that I would like to cover one day eventually. Well, I'll be goddamn, it came back up into my foreground when studying this thing for music because it kept coming up. I want to preface that before we get into what we get into. Okay. So now I'm going to reshare this thing on Orpheus. Okay. Now, Orpheus was a Thracian bard. Right? Who a legendary musician and a prophet. That was something else that was regular. That was a theme, you guys. Oh my God. That was something else that was a regular theme in the study for this topic is music partnered with prophecy. Music partnered with prophecy. So isn't it interesting that the bard, he was a Thracian bard, and then it tells you in the little side caption, reiterates what a bard is. What is a bard? He is a professional storyteller, an oral repository. What's a repository? Where things are kept. Important things are kept. He was an oral repository, baby, of what? History, of secrets, of lineage and genealogy, right? He was a verse maker, a music composer, an oral historian, and a genealogist, employed by the very important to commemorate one or more of the patron's ancestors and to praise the patron's own activities. This is a bard. He's a repository of sacred information is what he is, right? But he's also a musician and he's also a prophet. He was also a renowned poet. And according to legend, he traveled and the Argonauts in search of the Golden Fleece. He even descended into the underworld of Hades to recover his lost wife, Eurydice. Okay? Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Major stories about him are centered in his ability to charm all living things and even stones with his music. The usual scene in the Orpheus mosaics, his attempt to retrieve his wife Eurydice from the underworld, and his death at the hands of the Maenads of Dionysus, who got tired of his mourning for his late wife. As an archetype of the inspired singer, Orpheus is one of the most significant figures in the reception of classical mythology in Western culture, portrayed or alluded to in countless forms of art and popular culture, including poetry, film, opera, music, and painting. For the Greeks, Orpheus was the founder and the prophet of the so-called Orphic mysteries, which is Orphism. And it is the name given to a set of religious beliefs and practices originating in the ancient Greek and Hellenistic world, associated with literature ascribed to by the mythical poet Orpheus, who descended into Greece, into the Greek underworld, and returned, blah, 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 blah. But there was a whole religion created after Orpheus. He was credited with the composition of a number of works, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so listen, he was accredited with the composition of a number of works, including theogonies, several theogonies, the Orphic hymns. The Orphic hymns is a collection of 87 hymns addressed to various deities and among the few extant works of Orphic literature. They were most likely composed in the Asian Minor, possibly in the 2nd or 3rd centuries AD. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. And the Orphic Argonautica, Lithica, y'all ain't gonna remember what that is, but Lithica is a works, the Lithica, Orpheus on gems, taken from Natural History of Precious Stones and Gems, and hexameter poem, and the hexameter poem. Shrines containing purported relics of Orpheus are regarded as oracles. What's an oracle? Is a person or a thing considered to provide insight, wise counsel, or prophetic predictions, most notably including precognition of the future inspired by deities. If done through occultic means, it is a form of divination. Why is this important? Let's see. Is this where I saw it? Okay. Was it here? Okay, so there was also a was it him? Oh, Mnemosyne was so important. Memory, the goddess Mnemosyne was so important that she was one. She had a shrine that was a chief shrine in the shrine of Asclepius, and who was the god of healing. Asclepius was the god of healing. His consort or his counterpart in Kemet is the man turned god Imhotep. So Asclepius is fashioned after Imhotep. Okay. But Mnemosyne, her role in memory was so important that she had a separate shrine placed in the temple of Asclepius. Right? That's important. Let's see. Okay, I think that was all that was important here. I think. Strabo. Okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna X out of it because it goes on. It goes on. Okay. So I'm gonna go to what was the connection? Let's see. Move. So there was a connection. So has anybody ever heard of the story? Has anybody ever heard of the story Lysistrata? You may have heard the word because the word has been showing up in random places a lot, but it's based on a story called Lysistrata. Is anybody? Wait, Tajli, have you heard of this? Because everything I mentioned, you know. Have you heard of the story Lysistrata? This shit fucked me up. I just discovered this today. I know the story of Lysistrata, but I didn't recognize until I was studying Lysistrata through the component of music and her connection to music. There's something I discovered. There's something I discovered, y'all. Okay. I don't remember how I got on Lysistrata. I don't remember the circle. Okay. But I'm saying it now. So it's something that I can refer back to when I more concisely pull this shit together. Okay. But Lysistrata, I'm going to open it up. I'm going to share. Okay. I'm surprised, Tajli. Okay, so let's see. Where is she at? Okay, there it is. Lysistrata. All right. So Lysistrata is actually written by let's see who is written by. Lysistrata. It's a comedy. Lysistrata is an ancient Greek comedy by Aristophanes, originally performed in classical Athens in 411 BC. This is important, so walk with me, okay? It is originally blah, 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 right? It is a comic account of an actual event, y'all, of an actual event, because that's what plays did back then. That's what comedies did back then, is they performed real life, right? They performed real life. So Lysistrata is a comedic account of an actual event that happened in 411 BC. It is a comic account of a woman's extraordinary mission to end the Peloponnesian War between the Greek city-states by denying all men of the land any sex, which was the only thing they truly and deeply desired. Lysistrata persuades the women of the warring city-states to withhold sexual privileges from their husbands and lovers as a means of forcing the men to negotiate peace, a strategy, however, that inflames the battle between the sexes. The play is notable for being an early expose of sexual relations in male-dominated society. Additionally, its dramatic structure represents a shift from the conventions of old comedy and a trend typical of the author's career. It was produced in the same year as the Thesmorphoriae, another play with a focus on gender-based issues just 2 years after defeat in the Sicilian expedition. The plot. This is Lysistrata. There are a lot of things about us women that sadden me, considering how men see us as rascals. Calanice, as we are, as indeed we are. By the Athenian Lysistrata and her friend Calanice at the beginning of the play. Set the scene for the action that follows. I'm gonna read this because this shit is gangster, and I am gonna drop a bomb on y'all. Okay. So let's see. The women, as represented by Calanice, are sly hedonists in need of firm guidance and direction. Lysistrata, however, is an extraordinary woman with a large sense of individual and social responsibility. She has convened a meeting of women from various Greek city-states that are at war with each other. What? That are at war with each other. Soon after, she confides in her friend her concerns for the female sex. The women began arriving. With support from the Spartan Lampito, Lysistrata persuades the other women to withhold sexual privileges from their menfolk as a means of forcing them to conclude the Peloponnesian War. The women are very reluctant at first, but the deal is sealed with a solemn oath around a wine bowl. Lysistrata choosing the words and Calanice repeating them on behalf of the other women. Listen, this is how the music comes in, okay? Lysistrata she created a conspiracy. This solemn oath, she created a conspiracy around a wine bowl. Lysistrata choosing the words and Calanice repeating them on behalf of the other women. It is a long and detailed oath in which the women abjure all their sexual pleasures, including the lioness on the cheese grater. Soon after the oath is finished, a cry of triumph is heard from the nearby Acropolis. Listen, y'all, I got goosebumps everywhere. Ooh, Listen. A cry of triumph is heard from the nearby Acropolis after the women sealed the deal on the oath. The old women of Athens have seized control of Athens at Lysistrata's instigation. Honey, the old women seized control of Athens at Lysistrata's instigation, since it holds the state treasury, without which the men cannot long continue to fund their war. Lampedo goes off to spread the word of the revolt. How did she do that? She spread the word of the revolt through singing the oath. And the other women retreat behind the barred gates of Acropolis to await the men's response. Listen. A chorus of old men arrives, intent on burning down the gate of Acropolis if the women do not open up. Okay, so is this literal or is this a metaphor? Because the women then close down shop. You feel me? They haven't just retreated behind the barred gates of Acropolis. The women have closed up the goods, the loot, the booty. They didn't just seize control of the goddamn treasury, the state treasury. They closed down the loot, the booty, the goods. You feel me? And so it says the chorus of old men arrived intent on burning down the gate of Acropolis if the women do not open up. Encumbered with heavy timbers, inconvenienced with smoke, and burdened with old age, they are still making preparations to assault the gate when a chorus of old women arise, bearing pitchers of water. Y'all, bearing pitchers of water. The old, God damn it. Hold on. Y'all. This is literal now, okay? But think about what I just read. Soon after the oath was, let's see, a chorus of old men arrived intent on burning down the gate of Acropolis if the women do not open up. Encumbered with heavy timbers, inconvenienced with smoke, and burdened with old age, they are still making preparations to assault the gate when a chorus of old women, and you see this is capitalized, the chorus of old, y'all see that right there? The chorus of old women is capitalized. So is this a metaphor or is this literal? Because it's a chorus of old women that arrive doing what? Bearing pitchers of water. Sound familiar? Anybody? Hold on, let me go over here and see if y'all talking to me. Did y'all not see that? The screen, the black screen is black, no visibility. We cannot see because damn, why is the screen black? Is it still black? Can y'all see? Y'all can't see? Oh shit. It says sharing. I'm sitting here seeing the screen. Y'all can't see me either. Singing is definitely frequencies. Singing is definitely frequencies in a unique way to communicate. Aquarius, thank you. Yes, voiceovers by Stephanie Marie. Yes, Aquarius, the water bearer, right? I don't know why. So I'm gonna try this one more time, okay? I am going to view. Can y'all see when I switch over? Damn, this is crazy. Because I should be able, but while you were reading, the screen was black. Okay, so I'm going to switch over now. Okay, Icy Captain, you my point person. We see you. So I'm gonna take 5 seconds to switch my screen to where I can actually read and scroll this. And over those next 5 seconds, tell me if you can see me while I am reading. I'm gonna switch back over and then you can tell me. Can you see me? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm gonna switch back over. View. So could you see while I was switched over? Right? Yes. Icy Captain. Could you see when I was counting 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? Okay, cool. All right, cool. Okay, so maybe I was just doing that wrong. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go back and read while I got it highlighted for y'all. Okay. View and okay. So the chorus of old women arrive bearing pitchers of water. The old women, again capitalized, complained about the difficulty they had getting water, but they are ready for a fight in defense of their younger comrades, y'all. Listen, the old women said they ready. We old, we tired. We had a hard time getting the water, but we ready to come and defend the young women. Threats are exchanged. Water beats fire. This is metaphor, baby. Water beats fire. The old men are discomfited with a soaking. The magistrate then arrives with some blah, 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 some Scythian archers, the Athenian version of the police constables. He reflects on the hysterical, there's that madness again. Let me write that down. He reflects on the hysterical nature of women, their devotion to wine, promiscuous sex, and exotic cults, such as the Sabazius and Adonis. But above all, he blames men for poor supervision of their womenfolk. He has come for silver from the state treasury to buy oars for the fleet, and he instructs the Scythians to begin levering open the gate. However, they are quickly overwhelmed by groups of what? Unruly women. Unruly women with such unruly names as seed market porridge vegetable sellers and garlic innkeeping bread sellers. Lysistrata restores order, and she allows the magistrate to question her. She explains the frustrations that women feel at a time of war when the men make stupid decisions that affect everyone. Come on in the room. Listen. She explains the frustrations that women feel at a time of war when men make stupid decisions that affect everyone, and further complains that their wives' opinions are not listened to. She drapes her headdress over him, gives him a basket of wool, and tells him that war will be a woman's business from now on. She then explains the pity she feels for young, childless women aging at home while men are away on endless campaigns. When the magistrate points out that men also age, she reminds him that men can marry at any age, whereas a woman has only a short time before she is considered too old. Then she dresses the magistrate like a corpse for laying out with a wreath and a fillet, and advises him that he's dead. Outraged at these indignities, he storms off to report the incident to his colleagues while Lysistrata returns to Acropolis. The debate, or agon, is continued between the chorus of old men and the chorus of old women until Lysistrata returns to the stage with some news. Her comrades are desperate for sex, and they are beginning to desert on the silliest pretexts. For example, one woman says she has to go home to air her fabrics by spreading them out on the bed. Let me make sure I still got y'all. Okay, can y'all see? And I still got y'all, right? Okay. All right. She said these women is going home under the silliest pretext to desert the mission. For example, one woman says she has to go home to air her fabrics by spreading them on the bed. After rallying her comrades and restoring their discipline, Lysistrata again returns to Acropolis to continue waiting for the men's surrender. A man suddenly appears, desperate for sex. It is Canasius, the husband of Marine. Lysistrata instructs her to torture him. Marine informs Canasius that she will have sex with him, but only if he promises to end the war. on the spot. Maureen fetches a bed, then a mattress, then a pillow, then a blanket, then a flask of oil, exasperating her husband with delays until finally disappointing him completely by locking herself in the Acropolis again. The chorus of the old men commiserates with the young man in a plaintive song. A Spartan herald then appears with a large bourdon and erection, scarcely hidden inside his tunic, and he requests to see the ruling council to arrange peace talks. The magistrate, now also sporting a prodigious burden, they called their erection a burden. Oh Lord. The magistrate, now also sporting a prodigious burden, laughs at the herald's embarrassing situation, but agrees that peace talks should begin. They go off to fetch the delegates. While they're gone, the old women make overtures to the old men. The old men are content to be confronted and fussed over by the old women. Thereupon, the two choruses merge, singing and dancing in unison. Peace talks commence, and Lysistrata introduces the Spartan and the Athenian delegates to a gorgeous young woman called Reconciliation. Oh, shit. The delegates cannot take their eyes off the young woman. Meanwhile, Lysistrata scolds both sides for past errors of judgment. The delegates briefly squabble over the peace terms, but with Reconciliation before them, Reconciliation is a woman. But with Reconciliation before them and the burden of their sexual deprivation still heavy upon them, they quickly overcome their differences and retire to the Acropolis for celebrations. The war is ended. After choral songs follow, another choral songs follow. After a bit of humorous dialogue between the tipsy dinner guests, the celebrants all return to the stage for final round of songs. The men and the women dancing together all sing a merry song in praise of Athena, goddess of wisdom and chastity, whose citadel provided a refuge for the women during the events of the comedy, and whose implied blessing has brought about a happy ending to the play. Okay. Nah. Oh, shit. Okay. Now, this Icy Captain says the Crones ain't to be messed with. Motherfucking right. Okay. So anyway, why is this story important? First of all, I still have buzzing all over. This story is a real story. The actual war, this was what ended the Peloponnesian War. But when I read the story today, only because of the music, it didn't occur to me the first time I saw the music. Does this story, does it remind anybody of anything? This story, this particular specific story, does it remind anybody of anything? Now I'm testing y'all. I'm always going to pop quiz y'all. Does it remind you of anything? Let me be more specific. Does it remind you of any movie in recent popular culture? This story. Because I'm going to have to go back to the movie and see if this story was even given credit. Because I don't think it was. But this movie that was made relatively recently was a straight up, damn near word for word adaptation of the story Lysistrata. Nope. Nobody? Tajali? Yes! Claudia Ankara, baby. Chirac. Was it not a word for word retelling? What is the Acropolis that they would lock themselves up in? Remember when them women seized control of the armory, of the military armory in Chicago? And it was a musical. And it was done as a musical. This was a complete, damn near word for word retelling of the story of Lysistrata. Remember the conflict, the women who are involved with the two heads of the main conflict in Chicago, the Crips and the Bloods, or the Red and the Blues, whoever they were. And one was played by Wesley Snipes, the other was played by the baby making boy. What's the boy name? What's the baby making boy name that was married to Mariah Carey? What's the baby making boy name? Somebody? Man, what's this boy name? Somebody tell me the baby making boy name who was married to Mariah Carey, Nick Cannon. So he is one of the he's one of the gang leaders, and Wesley Snipes is the other gang leader. And it's they two women, it's they women that decide. It's the dark-skinned sister who is in the relationship with Nick Cannon that decides, because Angela Bassett made her feel so bad because she was in this relationship with this she was in this relationship with this dude that was wreaking havoc all over the goddamn city. And then this girl feels bad because she sees, what's her name? The singer. What in the hell is wrong with my brain? Because everybody was in this shit. But the singer, the girl that lost all that weight, she was on anyway, her child is killed in crossfire between these two warring gangs. This is what makes her finally sit inside herself and say, no, this is really messed up, whatever. So she goes to the opposing gang's woman. And I remember the scene clearly because all these women who are supposed to be beefing, they tied to warring states, just like Liz Estrada and the other girl. You feel me? And they're in the house, and these girls are ready to throw down. They're like, got this attitude. They like, okay, we trying to figure out what the fuck y'all doing over here and what y'all want. You feel me? And she's like, look, we all in the same situation. We love our dudes, but we all got family members who done been maimed, who done been, injured, and who done been killed in this unresolved beef. And they can't hear reason. They won't hear reason. And so maybe if we retract the cuchatorial, maybe they'll start to act right. If we retract the coochie, you feel me? If we retract the coochie, maybe they'll act right, right? And I remember the immediate response, just like she was saying in this story. Some of the girls are like, oh no. She talked about here in this story about Liz Estrada, the reluctance of many of the women. Like, yeah, we out here fucked up. Yeah, we out here abused. Yeah, these men don't act right, but damn, give up sex? Like sex? Like that's like sex? You want us to give up sex? Like, can we give up something else? The reluctance that was in this scene, right? And not only the reluctance, right? What did she say? There were outliers. Remember, the dude was like, Nick Cannon's character was like, well, you my boo and everything, but if you ain't gonna give up no pussy, I can get it somewhere else. And even though because Dave Chappelle is in the movie as the owner of the strip club that everybody go to, and all the brothers, when they women was like, nah, we standing firm in this shit. We done made the pact. We made the oath. That's what they did in that house. We made the oath. We made the pact. Don't nobody break the pact. You feel me? When the women said, okay, finally, we own it. We own it. We no more sex. Cross the board. Put out the word. What did they do? They put out the word all over the city. That's what they did. What did Liz Estrada say? She sent women off far and wide. This is the decision that we done made. The old women who ain't even getting no sex. The old women was like, we stand with them. we old. It ain't got nothing to do with us anyway, but we stand with them. We got them. You feel me? And so they go out far and wide. They was like, well, fuck these women. They ain't gonna give us no pussy, so we just gonna go to the strip club. There's always somebody out here that'll give it to us. You feel me? And so they go to the strip club. All the strippers, this they bread and butter. This is how they live. All the strippers was like, we with them. We with them. And so Dave Chappelle said, what you niggas did? What y'all done? That's done closed down my bar. That's done closed down my bar. I ain't got a single stripper in here. He said, I'm about tempted to throw one of you niggas on this pole, right? And so they was like, damn, there ain't no strippers, right? And so there was a couple of sellouts. There were a couple of women who sold out the ambitions of the whole. There was a couple of sellouts. This story is a warning. You feel me? Then the shit got so popular, it started out with Black women trying to solve real life problems for the Black community in this little neighborhood, in this little community, in this little city. All of a sudden, the mayor is calling. He like, what the hell going on in this area of the city? What's this got to do with the mayor when he live on the white side? When he live on the affluent side? When he live on the rich side? What's them making an oath amongst themselves to not give their men any booty so that they can stop killing each other and warring and beefing with each other? What's that got to do with the mayor? Well, the mayor's wife was black, and she got wind because she from the clique. She got wind of what was going on. She was like, white boy, you can't get no pussy neither. You can't get no pussy neither. And once that happened, once the mayors start complaining on the news about how his wife is holding out because of this pact that these little working class black women done made to try to squash violence, state orchestrated violence in their neighborhood, you feel me? Now the news done got wind of it. And now they got women in Brazil and in Colombia and in Europe and in Africa in one voice chanting a song rhythmically about how, I forget what the chant was. I'm gonna have to go rewatch the movie, but you don't end the war, you ain't getting no pussy. That's essentially what the quote was. You don't stop the violence, you ain't getting no pussy. You don't end the war, you ain't getting no pussy. Right? So music as spells, right? This is what got me on this whole long diatribe. And Liz Estrada came up somehow. And I'd read this story several times, but I was like, oh, okay, right? Now, I didn't want that to take that long, but that was an important segue. This story about Liz Estrada, baby. This story about Liz Estrada on this day here. In this day here. In this period here. We just did a live several months ago talking about the 4B movement, right? And if you hadn't seen it, go back and watch it. But we just did a whole thing about the 4B movement and how this is impacting the lives of every single person in South Korea, is feeling the weight of women saying no more relationships with men, no more dating men, no more marrying men, and no more babies with men. And they ain't saying because we don't want to. I'm sure women, just like these women back in 411 BC, like to feel loved, like to get loved on, like to get their booty rubbed, you feel me? Like all the things that we all like. But they like, look, even if we may like those things, we are willing to do without until we get what the fuck we want. What we want is an end to the violence against us. What we want is fair pay for the work that we do. What we want is to be able to secure our lives so that we can adequately raise a family. Whatever it is that we want, right? We want to be treated like equal citizens in this society, which we are not. You feel me? And so they say, look, we can do without. Can you? We can go without. Can you? It's been 4 years now that the 4B movement has been going strong in South Korea, making South Korea for the first time in its history have the lowest birth rate of any country on earth right now. South Korea. They did that. You feel me? So this story in 411 BC is quite revealing for today. Okay. Now, let me take 2 seconds to get my cat, who has locked himself in the room somehow, out the room, because now he cutting the whole ass. Let me get him out the room, and this will be a great segue for me to get something else to drink since we're going on the 2-hour mark. I'll be right back. What's up, big kid? Down. Down. Oh. Okay. And y'all gonna have to forgive me. I had to get a banana or something. I told y'all I literally just rolled out the bed before I got up on here, so I haven't even eaten it, and I'm starving. Probably why my brain ain't working. Okay. So, all right, now I'm gonna shift gears. I want to show you. So this thing about going back to some of these popular movies that I'm watching right now that's got all these themes about like bards and gleemen and stuff like that. So The Witcher has the guy, bard, who travels along with the Witcher, writing his story, telling his tale so that nobody forgets him and everybody knows who he is when he comes into a new town. Okay. All right. So when I don't know how many people are fans of The Witcher. I love it. But at the end of the third season, there was another Witcher mini series that came out called Witcher Blood Origins. I love this shit. I have only watched it about 7 times since it came out. Okay, Witcher Blood Origins, and it's called so the first story that the bard tells in Blood Origin is, where is it at? Where did I write that at? Oh, okay. The first song. So in the opening scene, you actually see the bard. Now the show, the series Blood Origins takes place 1,200 years before the first Witcher comes to be. Okay, 1,200 years. So this is the origin of how the clan of Witchers came to exist in the first place, right? But the bard, who is the Witcher's homie, is in this story called the Blood Origins. And this elf from the past comes to tell him that he has to write a new story. And so she's giving him the 411 on the origins. And so the first song that you're introduced to is called the Song of the Seven. The Song of the Seven. Okay. Now, this concept too is replete throughout this story that I'm telling you. Not only the story, but the story of music as magic. It's everywhere. The seven, the importance of the seven. I was just reading to y'all the other day in the Sibyls. Where is that at? Where is the Sibyls, man? This idea, oh, here it is. The idea of the number 7 and why it's a sacred number, why it's so important, why it shows up everywhere, right? The 7 sisters, the 7 mountains, right? In Ifa, they call it the 7 African powers, right? I'll flip through. I should have saved it. It's in the third reading, so it was more close. Right? 7777777, right? And then when I opened playing the sitar and I talked about how the mother note is called, what is it called? The she who gives birth to 6. It's about the fact that even in Indian music, the scale is always 7 notes with a mother note, a guiding note. She who gives birth to 6. This concept of the 7 all over the place. And then the girl who centers around this story. So the lead, that's why I'm convinced that the Witcher's blood origins didn't do as well as the rest of the Witchers. It's because y'all hate Black people. You feel me? And y'all know who I'm talking about, because the lead character, the protagonist in this story is a girl named, I can't pronounce her name, but Iale. Her name, she is from the Raven clan, and her name means she who leads seven. She who leads seven. Okay. So I'm sure most of you haven't seen it. So what I wanted to do is there's a song. Listen, the song. So there's a narrator, right, telling the story all throughout the movie. This woman narrator that's telling, how the unfolding of this thing is going, right? But there is a song that this girl sings, the girl from the Ravenclaw. There's a song that this girl sings, and it is indicative of what we're talking about, especially like with the role of the bard and the gleeman, and how in those times when people did not know how to read and write, the only thing that spread like wildfire in terms of news and occurrences and so on and so forth was song. This movie so eloquently portrays that, how this girl used to be, so you had these clans that were sworn from each nation, these clans of warriors that were committed, vowed through bloodline to protect the nobility of each one of these nations. So there's the Dog clan, the Ghost clan, the Raven clan. There's all these clans of families through their whole lineage that are sworn through blood oath forever to care for, to defend and protect the nobility of each nation that they represent, right? Well, as a young warrior for the Raven clan, under the guise of protecting the nobility, meaning blindly and without hesitation, carrying out the orders of the nobility. And so when she was very young, to prove her allegiance to the nobility, she was made to commit this really horrible, horrible act that she never recovered from. And so as opposed to blindly following the nobility, she left her family, she cut ties with the clan, changed her name, and became a traveling bard, a musician. This Black woman traveling through Elven land to become a traveling bard. And because there's a scene where a guy from the Dog clan comes to where she is, he doesn't know her, he didn't know anything about her. And the person that's standing out front of the gate of the city where he's entering, he was like, have you come to, they gave her a name, something bird. But they were like, have you come, we'll call her Songbird for the sake of this. Have you come to see the Songbird? And he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, you haven't come to see the bard. He was like, nah. He's like, what's the story? He was like, oh, well, she plays really wonderful music. And he was like, is music something y'all hear often? Is music something y'all hear often? He said until she came, there hasn't been music here in an age. So even the idea, think about being in a period of human history where music is not a part of your daily life. Art, music, dance, and is not a part of your daily life. This is Europe. Is not a part of your daily life. This is not just Europe. This is Europe under the papacy, child, under the Roman Empire and under the papacy, right? Where you can no longer sing and dance when the flowers grow or when the harvest comes or anything, because everything has been outlawed as pagan, right? And so he says there hasn't been music here in an age. And so when she came to the town, everybody from everywhere came to see her play because they don't regularly hear music Can you imagine? So anyway, they go in. That's what I'm about to play for y'all. They go in, and the girl is singing this song. The name of the song is Black Rose. Okay. Now, as the movie goes along, now mind you, she stopped being a protector. She stopped being a warrior defending the nobility. Well, the dude that she links with, he is banned from his clan. He is completely cut off from his clan because of this act he did. And so they end up, these are clans that are actually at odds with each other, but they end up becoming allies. And then the story unfolds about how these two people who are on opposing sides become allies in with one goal in mind, right? I ain't gonna give away everything because it's deep. The story is great, right? And but how this song, the Black Rose that she travels to and fro singing, is like it's like a calling card. So one more thing. They're on their journey. They're pursuing their mission, right? To do this thing, right? And they are way far from their homelands, and they are on this path, and they see all of these people who are escaping this thing that happens, right? And they know the people. They know the type of clan. They know who the clan that these people are associated with. They're like, what are they doing so far north? And they look beat. They look beaten down, right? They got everything they belong, like on their backs and stuff. And they're stopping and talking to them, like, what's going on, whatever. And they were like, we just got, our village got destroyed, and it's only getting worse. And so we on the move, we on the run. And then the girl says, I know you. And she was like, from where? She was like, you're the songbird. We're going to call her the songbird. I don't remember her name. You're the songbird. Oh my God. Can you please sing that song? I heard you sing it years ago. And we could really use some inspiration right now. We could really use some hope. And she was like, I'm not that person anymore, because she stopped being a bard as soon as this thing happened that sent her and this dude on a mission. So she's like, I ain't singing no more. I'm not the bard anymore. I'm not the singer. And so the girl starts singing the song that I'm about to play, y'all. And she was moved. She was like, how would she know this song? Like, and so the whole thing is about how this song that this woman sings becomes a calling card for rebellion. It becomes not only the calling card for rebellion, but the unifier for peoples from different nations, right? Now I'm gonna play the song for you because it's my jam. But then I gotta encourage you to go see, it's a mini series. I think it's like 4 episodes, 5 episodes, something like that. All right, so let's see. Here it is. Oh, shoot. We are the Black Rose. We are the Black Rose. Let no one doubt our cause. Rise up and let them hear our roar. The bones day has come. A flower shall grow where a peasant blood flows. Can y'all see? Our lives they have taken, are the seeds they have sown. Rise up from the soil we till. Rise up from the soil that they own. We are the Black Rose. We are the Black Rose. Let no one doubt our cause. Rise up and let them hear our roar. The Lord's day has come. All right. So that's the short version. I think you can actually find the oh, I didn't mean to do that. Dang. I think you can actually find the extended version on YouTube too, but I wanted you to see the girl. Now you got to go watch it. It's The Witcher Blood Origins. Okay. Now there was a lot going on in that scene when you watch it. So make sure, because the little white girl that the screen kept going to, this girl, again, it's like, I know I see shit too deep. I know. But it's like, why would it come to me? Why does it come to me? So I talked to y'all earlier about how there is a tendency that has been happening throughout this whole little thing I've been doing with this music thing, this music study over the last 48 hours. Remember, I talked about there was a regularly occurring connection between music and prophecy, and music and lunacy / craziness / madness, right? So in this show, this I'm going to give away because I didn't catch it the first maybe 3 times that I watched this movie, Blood Origins, because you're focusing so much on the black girl and the guy that ends up making this pact with her to do this thing. But in that scene that I just showed you, the little white girl that they keep going back, to, her mother owns the tavern where they are in this show. Okay. She is a little girl. And in that scene, these, men are in the tavern and they're loud and they're drunk while the girl is playing. They're loud and they're drunk. That's why you saw a little cut. They're loud, they're drunk, and they're drinking a lot. And the little girl is helping her mom run the tavern. So she brings the men another platter of drinks. And one of the men grabs the little girl, like the little girl's like 14. And he grabs the little girl and was like, you look like you're the perfect age, or something gross like that, right? And so the mom attempts to intervene, is like, no, let me get you somebody else. You don't really want her. She has fits. Okay. So this little girl has been, quote, reduced to crazy by the community people because she has fits. She has been called crazy because she has fits. These fits are visions. Every time she touches someone's skin, she will actually go into like a frenzy. And in the frenzy, she will see a future of theirs, right? This girl is a prophet. This girl sees the future. Now, as a child, with everybody telling her she's crazy or whatever, or she's fucked up, or she has fits, right? She's broken, right? She does this thing. Now, she is an elf. They're all elves. They're all elves, right? This girl becomes a huge fan of this traveling bard. They actually become friends. She actually foretells a future for this bard, right? This girl does not play a major role in the origins at all. But when you go back and watch the Witcher series, when they're talking about, this is something else I mentioned to y'all the other day, or maybe it was in the Zoom that we did on Wednesday. When I talked to you about the witches, the Iami Age, I think it was in the Zoom. I don't think it was a live. I should do a live about it. But I was talking to you about how I just rewatched The Witches of Eastwick and how it was so in your face, the scene where they're in the window and Cher and Michelle Pfeiffer and Susan Sarandon are side by side in the window as these witches of Eastwick, and Cher has jet black hair. It is in a black outfit. Susan Sarandon has brilliant red hair and is in a red outfit, and Michelle Pfeiffer has white blonde hair and is in a white outfit. I was like, holy fuck. They have them dressed as the Iami. You remember I did that whole segment not too long ago on the Iami, and how the colors of the Iami represented a certain power that they had, a certain level of power that they had. the black Iami, the red Iami, and the white Iami. And here are these 3 white women as witches representing the power of the Iami, and it was everywhere, right? Well, in The Witcher, the original series, there is a period where the elves, even though this is their continent, this is their planet, and I won't tell you how that happens, but this is their planet, but they have become the lowest class on their own planet. Once the humans and the monsters and the dwarves and all these other creatures come to their planet, the elves somehow end up as the lowest class on the planet. And there is an elven queen that is trying to regain power, the power of the elves to rule their own planet, right? Well, so she and these 2 witches from another clan come together and realize that there's some prophecy or whatever, and they have to meet this ancient witch. This ancient witch is the girl from the scene that I just showed you, the little girl. 1,200 years later, she is the ancient witch that the 3 new witches have to consult in order to figure out how the elves can regain power. This elven little girl in this movie, influenced by this woman's music. I was like, because music imprints on me just that way. Y'all may think it sounds like crazy and big, but this music and this intervention with this woman imprinted on this girl and set her on a path, a 1,200-year path. But anyway, the music and prophecy, right? She is a prophet, this girl. She ends up being the prophet, right? The lady in the woods is what they call her, right? Music and craziness, this relationship between music and insanity, music and craziness, music and madness, music and getting lost in madness, all right? Because Dionysus, the Maenads that I mentioned earlier were like the priestesses of Dionysus, who was the god of wine, music, and ritual madness, right? The Maenads were said to be crazy because because Dionysus, though, caused ritual madness. He was called in some cultures the one who makes you crazy. This was the only way to receive epiphany from, quote, God, was to go into ritualistic madness, eating ivy, getting drunk on wine, and not just regular wine. Usually it was psychedelic infused wine, right? So again, plant medicine, right? So that was one thing I wanted to show you. Damn, I didn't want this to take this long. Okay, so there's 2 more things that I wanted to show you. One is going to address what Icy Captain was talking about. We'll go that route first, just to get it out the way. So, overview, right? This portion that I'm going into now is about, it's big in Black conscious circles, y'all. It's big. And I've been trying to work it out in my mind for a long time, because I've been in Black conscious spaces for a long time. You feel me? Like Professor Griff is a homie. I know him personally. I know his wife personally. I know them well. You feel me? And I am tempted to say that Professor Griff is the one who really popularized early on what is now a regularly occurring phenomenon. When Professor Griff left Public Enemy, he started a little later on, but this is his bread and butter today. It still is his bread and butter. He went on these speaking circuits with this whole concept of the Illuminati takeover of hip hop. The Illuminati takeover of hip hop. If you ever hear anybody, so I know, what's her name? What's that crazy woman name? What is this girl's name? The singer that used to sing with the Roots, that she on everybody conspiracy page now. Jaguar Wright. So everything that Jaguar Wright is talking about now and getting famous off of. Professor Griff is really the architect of this whole concept of the Illuminati takeover of hip hop, right? But it's on everybody's it's on everybody's on that bandwagon now. Hold on. Everybody's on the bandwagon. I have a segue. Jaguar, right? I cannot listen to this woman say a whole sentence without being absolutely irritated. I have a story. This story time. And then we're going to get into the Illuminati takeover of hip hop. Because it's like nobody even remembers or even asked the question why this woman lost access to fame. Now she's regaining fame because now all she's doing is talking shit about everybody and how everybody, like she's supposedly exposing the industry or whatever. But why was her ass tossed the fuck up out the industry? And don't nobody ask that question. Don't nobody remember why she was tossed out of the industry. Because this girl should have been big. Her voice is extraordinary. She is an incredible singer. But she is a terrible human being. Terrible. Let me tell you, this is a personal story about Jaguar Wright. So a friend of mine is really, really well connected with the music industry. He has been in the music industry for 30 plus years. He's a conga player. He plays with, he has played with everybody, but he is a full-time tour artist for, oh my God, for, oh man, why am I don't know what's going on with my brain retrieval these days. Anyway, but he's played with everybody. He's played with Chick Corea, with Return to Forever. Like he has played with everybody big, right? And so because of these connections, and then this bass player that plays with him in his side band is a dear friend of mine. This bass player is literally known as the best bass player in the Tampa Bay area. Year after year after year, when they do the best of the Bay, he's always the best bass player. I mean, there's massively giant musicians in Florida, in the Tampa Bay area. Massive, right? And so what happened was Jaguar Wright was on tour. I don't remember what year this was. This was an age ago, maybe 2005, 2006. Jaguar Wright was on tour, and she had, in this tour, she had this practice of, before she would go to a city, she would do research on who, like, the musicians were in the area. And she said that it was to put local musicians on. Like, this was her routine, was to seek out musicians that were well known in the area to create a makeshift band. And then she would come and sing with that band. She didn't have a touring band. She did not have a touring band. That she would reach out to musicians, send them sheet music for her work, and then they would practice the sheet music. She would put together this makeshift band of big musicians in the area, and then she would come in and sing her music as played by this pulled together band, right? She did not have a touring band that she was touring with, okay? So everybody was so hyped because she is such a great singer. So everybody was hyped. Everybody that was in the makeshift band were dear friends of mine. I mean, people who are giants, right? The singer, this dude is so bad. He has been singing professionally in Japan for several years now, right? He started in South Korea, now he's in Japan, whatever. You know, the keyboard player, a giant among men, the bass player, the drummer tours right now today with the Allman Brothers. He is the full-time tour drummer for the Allman. Not only is he the full-time tour drummer for the Allman Brothers, he is the nephew of Victor Wooten, the greatest him and Stanley Clarke are the greatest bass players on earth. He is the nephew of Victor Wooten. So this band that she pulled together of the best musicians in the Tampa Bay area are giants among men. Okay. This girl. So everybody's hyped. We're at the State Theater. This girl. So the band is like, you know, they're because she's late. She ain't like, you know, a little late. And there's no opening act. The whole thing is a small theater, you know, expensive tickets. Only so many people can come. It's intimate night with Jaguar Wright. You feel me? So when it came down to like after maybe 30 minutes that she was still late, the band, we was like, y'all play. We had a singer up there. Richard was up there. Kevin was up there. Kenny was up there. And Dave. This was a ready-made band. We didn't need nobody else. You feel me? And everybody in the State Theater knew who all these musicians were. We were like, just play. So I was like, fuck it, let's play. So they started doing a whole like set, right? They was doing their thing. We was in there jamming. It was awesome. All of a sudden, somebody comes out and yells, she's here. So she comes in through the back and goes into the dressing room. And then she finally comes out on the stage. Wasn't no gripe, but the band had already been playing a good 45 minutes. The girl was like extremely late, right? And so it was no shade. The room erupted when she came on the stage. Everybody was like, yeah. She came out. She was like, I'm sorry I'm late. I got my little lemon tea. I'm a little bit sick, but we gonna make this work, right? So the band has her music. The band has been working her sheet music since she emailed it out to them. They are flawless musicians. Even when they fuck up, you would never know. They're flawless. These dudes have been doing this their whole life. Okay. So she, so they're playing. She's like, okay, start with this song. And so they start playing, they jam and they grooving. Like it's a groove song. It's nothing like deep. And then she starts singing. She's right. And then she starts singing. And the singing is great. She's singing for about maybe a minute. And then all of a sudden she says, stop. Just like that. Stop. Did y'all even read the sheet music? She is saying this on the stage. Did y'all even read the sheet music? Let's try that again from the top. They start playing. It's a groove. She starts singing. She goes on a little longer. She was like, it's not, while she's singing, it's not written like that. We were like, what the fuck is going on? She does it again. She's like, let's try another one. Baby, when I tell you the girl was not on the stage 20 minutes. She was so disrespectful and irate, so disrespectful of these musicians. You hear me? She's like, I cannot sing like this. I sent y'all the music. She is saying this with the mic in her hand, turning back, looking at the band. And they're sitting there like, what the fuck? Right? Finally, she drops the mic and walks off the stage. Okay. We were shocked. Like, what the fuck just happened? And then we were livid. Everybody in the theater was like, who the fuck? People were cussing. People were mad as hell. Who the fuck this bitch thinks she is? We just paid $50 for these tickets. What the fuck is going on? Who is she? Right? So everybody's going on the stage trying to tell them, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Whatever. This girl walks out through the theater. She doesn't go out through the back. As she leaves and goes backstage to, quote, retrieve her things, she walks through the crowd, through the theater, out the front of the theater. We were tripping. Okay. So it was me, the bass player's sister, who is a good friend of mine. It was a whole bunch of black women. Out, we ran. Girl, my homegirl took her motherfucking shoes off to run to the front of the theater to catch this bitch in the street, to catch her on the sidewalk. Because her tour bus had come around the building and her tour bus was in front of the building. And so the bass player's sister was going off. Bitch, who the fuck you think you are? You disrespectful, blah, 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 blah. And the girl and Jaguar Wright said something slick out the mouth. And so the girl took her goddamn high heel shoes and threw them at her head. Just barely missed her. Threw them at her head. She was like, bitch, you don't want none of this. This is Jaguar Wright. And so me, my homegirl, the bass player's sister, and 3 other women started approaching this girl like, bitch, you just disrespected every major musician in the damn city. We done spent all this money to come and support you. What the fuck you think you are? We try to bum rush this We try to bum rush this bitch, y'all. I'm telling you, you can't write this shit. This actually happened. We try to bum rush Jaguar Wright on the streets of St. Petersburg, Florida, for disrespecting who essentially was our family. Everybody on the stage was family. You feel me? We try to bum rush this bitch. Then these three big ass, her security guards or whatever, block us. But we are like trying to plow through these niggas, right? To get to this bitch. She is like, y'all don't want her. She's standing back, talking shit, but she ain't approaching. She ain't telling them to back off so she can get some. You feel me? And so we were outraged. That happened. We was about to pummel this girl into the goddamn concrete in the middle of St. Petersburg, Florida, for disrespecting our family members on stage, taking the money that was, because we didn't get our money back, taking the money that was made at the box office to see her and rent, right? So the next day, I'm telling you, I have not even told this story. This shit happened like in 2005. So my hair was on fire. I was so mad. The next day, our mutual homeboy, who is the conga player, who was basically the one that got the inroad to her in the first place, put him on. He said, y'all aren't going to believe this. And he started sending us videos of Jaguar Wright. Jaguar Wright in England, of Jaguar Wright in France, Jaguar Wright on this tour in different cities all over the fucking planet, where this was her modus operandi, child. She would send sheet music to new and up and coming musicians, or musicians that had a following in their own town, so she didn't have to pay a tour band. She didn't tour with the band, so she didn't have to pay a tour band. So she didn't have to pay a tour band. She could tour by herself and then just get these random musicians who would take pennies just to play with Jaguar Wright, give them the music, make a scene. It was her modus operandi. It was video after video after video of this fucking girl going to fucking full-on festivals, just showing out on stage exactly the way that she did in St. Petersburg. Y'all aren't playing it right. Y'all aren't playing it right. She disrespected musicians all over the goddamn globe. And when her modus operandi, and then she would run with the money. She would get paid. She would be on stage maybe 30 minutes. She would have her little meltdown, still get paid, and then go on and do it again. And when her modus operandi actually got found out, that's when motherfuckers stopped booking this bitch to play. So ever since then, she's been off the radar. And then the first time I see her on the radar is maybe a year ago, when people start interviewing this has-been, when people start interviewing her about, quote, witchcraft in the industry and satanic rituals in the industry and sex games in the industry. So now she got a new bag that doesn't require her to be talented at all. That happened. That happened. No, we didn't get our goddamn money back. Yes, this actually happened. It talks about cruelty-free artistry. It makes sense. She just got out of jail for theft. Yeah, a straight up con artist. You probably can't even find her now, but there were video after video after video after video of this girl committing crimes on stage. You hear me? Disrespectful. Now y'all cut it out. God damn it. Fucking, cut it out. What is wrong with y'all? Bastards. Let me lock these bitches up. Strike them motherfuckers. I keep threatening it, but I'm gonna have to get these cats leashes. I don't have cats. I have 2 dogs in cats' bodies. I can't stand y'all. Golden Amethyst $9.99. Talk about runs. Talk about run, Tempest. Y'all supposed to be taking my side, these little destructive bastards. God damn it. How trifling. That's that bullshit. You understand what I'm saying? These niggas is destructive. Okay? Not only is they destructive, I promise you, I do not have cats. These dudes is dogs. Okay? They dogs. They ain't just dogs, they outside dogs. Go to Amethyst 999 say we know it's always her. You motherfucking right, it's always her ass. And then she'll get Storm involved in her bullshit. She'll just keep at him. Until finally he'll be like, okay, I'm coming. Let me go. Let me get it. Right? And he'll be just laying on his side with his belly all out. And then she'll just come messing with him. Pew, 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 pew. And he'll be like, leave me alone. He'll like paw at her. Leave me alone. And she'll just keep at him. Pew, pew, pew. Jump on him. Pew, pew. And then he'll finally take off after her. But yeah, y'all motherfucking right. It's always her. She said, run, Tempest. I keep saying it. But they are not like cats, y'all. You know how cats, when you got company, like if somebody comes and knocks on the door, they just take off. They go hide. We don't know who that is. Pew. These cats are like dogs. They run to the door as soon as they hear something happening at the door. They'll literally stare out the window until the door is open. They'll sniff the feet of whoever come in. They bum rush. Whoever sniff their feet, check them out, purr a little bit, come pick me up. Pick me up. They don't know no strangers. They're like dogs. They're like dogs. They act like dogs. They move like dogs. Storm is a lap cat. He act like a lap dog. He just want to be rubbed on all day. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm going to have to get these niggas leashes and start walking them outside like with they kinfolk. Because they ain't cats. They dogs. Anyway. So yeah. That's your girl. What's her name? Jaguar Wright. So every time I see her, and people are putting her forward as some authority, some moral authority about the immoral activities up in the industry. I think I tried to watch one of these interviews with her, and all I could see was her on that stage disrespecting people, musicians who have been doing this their entire life, scamming a whole room of Black people. That stadium was the State Theater was full of nothing but Black people. Everybody in the city knew that band. Everybody in the city knew that band. And this girl got her ass on the stage and disrespected these musicians and disrespected their families and their friends and everybody in the damn area that came out to support them. They came out and cheered them on because like this is like a big deal. They get to play with this big singer for her to get up on that stage and do what the fuck she did to Black people. I can't see past it. No, nothing she say. I don't take nothing she say as the truth, as based in some kind of conscience or moral code. This is this girl way to eat. Where she done created a position for herself, talented as she is, created a reputation and a position for herself where she can't eat off her talent. So now she got to eat off gossip. She got to eat off industry gossip. Whatever your bag is, girl, but she fucked up the opportunity to be a star, to be somebody famous based on her skill and her skill alone. She did that. She did that. I have never, from that day to this, seen anything to even tell that story don't even sound real. Like, who knew that? I was like, okay, maybe she was on one. Maybe she was high or something. And then my homeboy started sending us clip after clip after clip of people. These are videos taken by friends and family of bands that she done did that shit to all over the place. Don't support her. Don't spend your money. Ban, boycott Jaguar Wright. There was a whole thing. Scandalous. I had to tell that little side note before I got on to the subject that brought her up in the first place. Let's see. It's only a matter of time before the truth of who she is comes out. Ugh. And as you notice, there's always Negroes. It ain't women that's interviewing her. She ain't been on no women's shows that I've seen so far. It's always Black men. And this bullshit about the Illuminati takeover of hip hop. There's always Black men interviewing this girl. I've never seen her on a woman's show yet. I don't mean she hadn't been, but I haven't seen it. And that's what I'm gonna get into. Okay. So the Illuminati takeover of hip hop is the first thing that I will talk about. in the context of this next video that I'm going to show you. I know that my screen is dragging a little bit. I'm not even on StreamYard. I'm on YouTube, so I still don't know what this slowing is, but I'm going to try it anyway. So there's another video that I want to show you because I believe the two go together. The two being this new idea that is centered in the Black community of the, quote, Illuminati takeover of hip hop, and the old idea that is very, very similar of rock and roll being the devil's music, right? This was big when I was a kid. This was big. It has its ebbs and flows. It was big in the 50s. It was big in the 70s. It was big in the 80s. And now again, this thing that is slowly rising in conjunction with this whole idea about the Illuminati takeover of hip hop in Christian communities is, modern music, popular music is the devil's music, whatever, whatever. So this next video I am going to show you, it is good for what it is. This is a Christian video by an interview of one guy of this Christian minister who is talking about music. But listen closely to what this preacher is saying. Hold on, let me take a note. Because these two scenarios are intertwined. Now, this shit is something that I have been mulling over for many years. The first year that I went to see, as a matter of fact, when I met Professor Griff, he was in Orlando, and a friend of mine had sponsored a stop on his tour, and that was in 2008. That was the year I got married. Me, my ex-husband, and our kids went to go to this event in Orlando to see Professor Griff do his whole video presentation on the evidence of the Illuminati takeover of hip hop. Let's see. She was on the Piers Morgan show, and he's a known racist. I definitely remember Professor Griff being the first. Yeah. So I didn't know she was on Piers Morgan's. I don't even know if I would have the stomach to watch that because I can't stand both of them. But anyway, the evidence, it fucked with me for a long time because I was still like, I was a hardcore revolutionary then. I wasn't even in spiritual space at all in 2008. And so when I went to go see this workshop on the Illuminati takeover of hip hop, it was good. It was good. The information was interesting and fascinating and shit. It was new to me. So I was like, damn, this is interesting. I love music. I'm a musician. So that's, I think, what it appealed to. But the thing that I couldn't articulate at the time that frustrated me so about the presentation and this line in general is that all of these signs and symbols that are evidence of the Illuminati takeover of hip hop are historically Black symbols. All of them, all of the, quote, evidence that the devil is involved, all the, quote, evidence that the Illuminati is involved is Kemetic symbology and imagery, is African symbology and imagery. All of it is Black, African, Kemetic symmetry and symbology. I was like, and so I was having a hard time reconciling that. Like, so is this I don't get it. So is this quote Illuminati takeover of hip hop? Is this an amusement, right? Is this the evidence of, because all of the quote symbols of the Illuminati, Freemasonry, are Black. They're Black in their origin. And so that shit was really fucking me up for a long time. So I went into this wormhole about Freemasonry and the Illuminati. And then there's some wormholes that can make your head hurt. You feel me? This was early on. Now, this is 2008. So I started watching documentaries about the Illuminati and about Freemasonry and all of this shit. And because I was a hardcore political activist at the time, I stopped that shit cold. I watched a lot of shit about it, but I stopped that shit cold because I felt like it was distractionary. I felt like going into wormholes about the Illuminati and all of that shit was kind of distractionary from, quote, the real political work. But now that this shit is making its second reemergence in popular culture, especially recently, I was like, we have to revisit this thing. Okay. So I'm going to play this video by this preacher. I say that it is good for what it is because it is revealing if you know how to listen to what you are what you're hearing. Okay. Or hear what you're listening to. So let me do this again, this screen share. I got two more, this one and one more. What's this? Okay, that we don't need. Okay. So I got two more screen shares, okay? And then, damn. Okay, we got two more screen shares. Okay, they're very short. I probably won't even play the whole thing, but the one by the preacher and the one by the musician, they're both worth a watch. They're only 11 minutes together. So let me do that. All right, so share screen. We'll do the preacher first. How spells are cast on, yeah, this is it. How spells are cast on worldly music.
Certain example of what I'm talking about. If we are loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. The emphasis is on the one beat, okay? It's more of a, we can duplicate that and put it on the one and on the three. So Jesus loves me, this I know. Shift the accent to two, or to the two and the four, or just the three. Sounds kind of confusing, but same type feeling of the same type of melody or whatever, but all we've done is move the accent. The moment we move the accent from the one or three, it becomes a syncopated beat. Syncopation, by all occult experts around the world agree, syncopation is the source of occult power in pagan worship services.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So this is profound to the Christian. Now we're in our homes, we're in our cars, listening to Christian music that has all these beats and syncopated things in it. And we're going, oh, this is great, this is wonderful. What it actually does, just like it does to ancient voodoo worshipers and modern day voodoo worshipers in their religion, circuits the frontal moral lobe. It gets them to a place to where they can become possessed. It's called the place of the crossroads between the physical and the spiritual. And now in the church, we have this thing going on, and we call it the moving of the Holy Spirit. That's pretty profound thinking.
That's pretty profound, yeah.
Okay, so all of a sudden, we're getting our mind going, and we're getting, not our mind going, we're getting our emotions going. We're taking that frontal moral lobe and we're casting it off. And whatever the preacher's preaching goes in without interpretation. God said, no. Reason with me. So I know right there, that is not of God, it's of the devil. Because the devil doesn't want us to reason out who he is, because if we really reasoned it out, what he stood for and what he's trying to do for us, we would run from him.
Exactly.
But because we're adopting his things and we're embracing his stuff, if you will, and his music, we run to him and run away from God. Is it working?
Yeah, it's working.
It's very powerful. And so the reality is, yes, music can profoundly influence our characters. And so music thus becomes a very moral issue. If we're listening to the right stuff, wonderful, it leads me to God, and it leaves my thinking intact. If we're listening to the wrong stuff, bye-bye. Prefrontal cortex is actually what it's called, the front of the brain where your character is, where your will is, where you want to obey, where your reasoning powers are. That's bye-bye. In fact, some of the music rips it out, spits it in half, tears it in half, and stomps it on the ground. It's incredible what it does. And we just sit there in an alpha pattern, whatever the music is teaching, whatever now listen, not just the lyrics. I said the music is teaching. Because people go, oh, well, this music, it has Jesus lyrics and it talks about Jesus. Okay, that's the greatest claim out there in CCM, the Contemporary Christian Music Movement. The problem is music itself has a motive. Music itself has an attitude. Music itself has body language. So I could say, I love Jesus. Now, what did you think when I said that?
That you love Jesus.
Why?
The way you said it.
It was the way, exactly. It wasn't what I said. Yeah. Those words are pretty a good clue, but it was the way. Because I could also say this, I love Jesus.
Yeah.
Now, what would you say about that?
Well, you don't like him very well.
You're saying something's up here. Why? Because the motive of my body language, it betrayed the words. The music that we listen to can betray the Jesus lyrics.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So what if we are listening to music that has all these driving beats and it's attached to a genre of rebellion, sex, drugs, and rock and roll? It undermines the Jesus message.
Absolutely.
And everybody knows that except for the Christians.
Well,
it's incredible.
All right. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Yeah. So did y'all see that? First of all, let me see if y'all see it. If y'all saw that. I assumed y'all saw it. Somebody say yes, no, you missed it. Screen was black. Are y'all still here? Okay. All right. So there was a lot in there. There was a lot in that little short video. Okay. First of all, I grew up in an independent fundamentalist Baptist church. In an independent fundamentalist Baptist church, there were no drums. Drums were forbidden. Okay? Drums were forbidden. Okay? We always talk about how white people be offbeat, right? How they don't know how to clap, right? They always clap on the 1-3, right? This dude tried to give a scientific justification for the reducing of all other culture to satanic. That's what he just did in that statement. In that little short piece, he literally he did two things. He placed the unrhythmic weakness and dysfunction that always has white people stand out as the proper way, and anything that that used, quote, syncopation as of the devil. Now let's talk about syncopation, okay? Because what did he say? He said it is well known amongst all occult researchers that syncopation is the source of all occult power. That's what he said. Syncopation is the source of all occult power. What does this have to do? So, the definition of syncopation is accent on the wrong beat. The wrong beat being anything outside of the 1 and 3. Okay. Let's see. The definition definition of syncopation is temporary displacement of the regular metrical accent of 1 and 3, or a syncopated rhythm, passage, or dance step, stressing the weak beat. Listen, this is their definition. This is the white world. The what was the let me see. Let me look at this. Let's see. It is the Merriam-Webster dictionary explanation or definition. Damn. Why is it not showing? I did a share screen. That's weird. Let me try it again. Okay. Oh. All right.